Today we are going to talk about multiplying the bang for your buck, focusing on value delivery. Let me give you a little context about this. So this is mainly for the agile team, but others can also follow the same thing. This is related to delivering value to the customer, and um, all projects intend to deliver value to the customer. Agile being very specific about value delivery. We talk about value, and we talk all the times is value is something that trumps everything out. So value is very important for agile team, and it's very it's a talked a lot about, but it's not practiced so much. It's not practiced so much. So if I want to ask an agile team, what was the value of the last release that you delivered to your customer? Or what was the value of the sprint, uh, you know, sprint, whatever you delivered at the end of the sprint, what was the value of that? I'm sure many teams will not be able to answer that very clearly, very straightforward. Oh, well delivered this, we delivered 5 stories in this sprint. We had 10 stories and 7 bugs that we fixed in this release. So they will talk about the work that they did, what work that they did. But when it comes to value, what value delivered, well, you will not get very straightforward, very clear answers. And I will ask you to jump in if you're, and you can open up your microphones and talk about that. I will make it more conversational, so this is more helpful to you. So whenever this question comes, that first of all, this question is not asked even a lot many times. But if you ask this question, you will get vague replies. And the reason for that vague replies is that, you know, in the team, the product owner, the scrum masters, nobody know actually how to value or how to assign a value to the backlog items. They know how to do story points, right? So story points, they're fine, is the size, right? It's the amount of work that you have to do, the risk and other factors put together gives the size. So you can say, okay, we delivered 20 story points. That they can answer you very quickly. What was the value delivered for with those 20 story points? That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. And that is what we will talk about in this. And the reason, it's not practiced so much in a so, what you call it, explicit manner is because it's hard to do. It's hard to do. But in today's presentation, I will talk about how you can implement value delivery without it being a very hard work, how to simplify it and still do a value delivery. And you can talk about how much value did you deliver. Okay, so we'll test. So this is the context. Is anybody has any questions or anybody has anything they want to add?
I think one of the fundamental problems, I would say, is the definition of value is a little bit ambiguous, given the
Yes.
fact that different stakeholders define value in a different way. And when
Yep.
you define things in a different way, when there is not a common understanding, it becomes difficult for any stakeholder, be it from the vendor organization or from the customer organization,
Mhm.
to understand what value is.
Very
That is
right. Very
that is
right.
number one. Yeah, and the
Mhm.
second is that value, and it is my personal opinion. Value, when you ask a team that how much, what was the value you delivered, I think before the value comes, I think it is the outputs. Okay, and when the outputs become operational, then only the value realization happens.
Very true.
A team in a sprint of 2 weeks may not see a value being delivered because they are focused more on getting the things delivered. But what if the customer across the other end is not consuming it? Then the value is not realized, right? So I think
Very good.
value
Keep
realization
that.
is.
Yeah. Keep that in mind that if the customer at the other end is not using it, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Uh, if you are an agile team, you should not have done it first place, right? So somebody sets the priority and how that priority was set to deliver that, and that's where value plays a very important role. And that, yeah, that's right. You're right. You're absolutely right. And thanks for sharing that. Anybody else? Okay, let's move on. So we are going to very quickly introduction, expectation setting we'll do, and then I will talk about what is the basic meaning of bang for the buck, and then how do you implement it? How do you implement it in your teams? The little quiz, and then we'll conclude with a Q&A. All right. So many of you might not know me. Maybe you have attended my previous webinars. Uh, I'm an enterprise agile coach at RefineM, the company that I started in December 2011. So this December will be completing 14 years. And in those years, I have done probably more than 100 agile transformation, and coaching engagements with companies like IBM, Charter, Wells Fargo. Right now, I am doing agile coaching for state of Maine IT, and I'm not doing it for the software teams. I'm doing for enterprise architecture and architecture review board teams. So they don't do any software. They don't do any software development. They basically improve the enterprise architecture, maintain the enterprise architecture, and any request, any technology application, product request, new product request that comes to them from any agencies. There are multiple agencies and department in the state. So that has to be reviewed by the ARB board, whether somebody can go buy things. We had a situation very recently last week when somebody requested to implement a AI product from outside vendor. And then the ARB said, no, we should use Copilot. So that's the kind of job that the ARB does. And my job is to create an agile process for them, which I started, and they are very appreciative that within 2 months, their process is running very smooth. They can see every request, what state that is in, and what needs to happen. And we have cadence, weekly cadence, and every 2 week cadence kind of a thing. It's not Scrum, it's made a combination of cadence with a Kanban. So, and then project management, improvement consulting, a lot of trainings that we do. And then we created some products here. So a lot of work that me and my team has done in last 13, 14 years. And before that, I spent about 25 years doing project management, agile and waterfall and whatnot. So all my career has been in project management for last maybe 35, 40 years. All right, let's move on. So what are your expectations from this webinar? So let's see, there's a little tool that we use, but let me see how many attendees we have here. Philip, can you tell me how many are there?
Yes, we have, looks like we have 4 people in.
Okay, so I will say let's use chat for now. Let's not use this tool. This tool is for people with like a we'll still use for quiz, but for now let's see. We will use chat. So if you can put your ideas on chat, or what are your expectations from this webinar, what kind of takeaway you want to have, that would be great. So what do you want to take away from this? How do you minimize the gap between outputs and outcomes? Okay. Develop a deeper understanding what value delivery, specifically how to translate into something valuable to project team. Okay, very good. Okay. How to present value information. Actually determine which stakeholder ideas. Very good. Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Let's go back to here is so our June webinar, we have not decided the topic for June webinar. Every month we do it, so we should announce it very soon. We have several self-paced online trainings that you can sign up, or your team can sign up if you want to learn about Agile, project management, and other topics. We also have these products. This is the set of toolkits. This is the set of templates and the process that you can implement in your projects or PMO to get a bootstrap, what do you call it? Whatever, like quick start. And then we have simulator. If you want to assess agility, we have a tool here to do agility assessment. And then if you are looking for PDUs, we have the PDU bundle also. So let's get on to defining what is the bang for the buck. So this is a question for you. The first is, and don't have to go to Menti again. You can answer, you can talk, or you can put in the chat. When you see this question, what is the bang for the buck? What does that mean to you? What is the meaning of bang for the buck? So let me see if you're typing, or you can talk. Either way is fine. Did I get what I paid for? Okay, return on investment, ROI. Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, that's very good. That's very good. Let's go back and check it out. So bang for the buck is not just the return on investment, but greater return on investment. This is a bang. Okay. There's a bang means you are getting a much more or a greater or a larger return, not just ROI. ROI could be, if the ROI is 10, 20, 50%, that's not a bang for the buck. If it's like 200%, 300%, 400%, then it is a bang for the buck. Okay. So that's the distinction. Somebody said ROI, but high ROI, very high ROI. That will be called as bang for the buck, or the greatest value available from a set of options. So you go this route, you get this much, you go this route, you go this much, and so on and so forth. So greatest value that is available from a set of options. That can be called as bang for the buck. And you can think about, I'm not really interested in a lot of features. I just want a reliable car that will give me a good bang for the buck. So higher value for your money, better value for your money. So the third sentence here is like, you don't want too much. You don't want too much, too many things, but you just want uh, bang for your buck. And that's, if you see, that's what translate to agile, one of the agile mindset, that we want to focus on only things that are higher value. We don't want to work on things that are lower values, maybe bells and whistles, right? So I give this example many times in my trainings. I give this example, and I will ask you also, and you can respond in the text as you're doing. So I hope everybody uses Excel or Word, right? Everybody uses this. So how many features of Excel do you use? Can you type or say how many features of Excel do you use? Most of us use Excel, so I'm just taking that example. If you don't use Excel, you can write that. So how many 1% of full offering, 6 to 7, less than 20%, right? So if I add up all of what you said, David 6 or 7 and Lexi is less than 1%, uh, you know, maybe I'm thinking, let's say uh, how many features Excel will have in your thought. Okay, I'm not going ahead, going kind of casting you. There are several ribbons, and each ribbon has several features. So how many features do you think Excel has?
Oh, probably thousands and thousands of them.
Yes. Yeah. A lot, hundreds at least. Right? Out of 100, if you are using less than 20%, less than 1%, less than that, then remaining 80% is not very valuable because no people are not using it, right? So if I'm an agile team and I'm developing a product, there are two aspects of it. If you are developing a product like Excel for masses and you have outside competition, then probably you will end up doing more, because to so that your product is differentiated from the rest of the product vendors, you may develop more features, right? Which is fair, right? To be competitive in the marketplace. But if you are doing this application for your own team, then you will not develop those 80% of the features. You will develop only what is needed or what is the higher value. So that's the bang for the buck. You will not develop that 80%. You will develop only 20% or even less. So you develop only where you have higher value. Bells and whistles, lower value, really will not you will not do it. Okay. So that's the meaning of bang for the buck, better value for your money. Okay. Let's move on. We will skip this one. We talked about this. Uh, but this is what I wanted to show you, and Rajshri, that you were talking about in the beginning. So this is a Peter Drucker's quote. There is nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. So if somebody is not a using that the team has worked upon, and they have done it very quickly because they are agile and they are delivering the things quickly, the high priority items first, whatever that priority means, without the value. Uh, so, but if they have done it very fast, and then nobody is going to use it. So that's a useless thing that the team has done. There is no use. All the effort that they put is useless, right? All the effort that they put is useless. Somebody need to figure that out, that what the team should be working on. And in Agile world, who decides it? Who decides that? Anyone? Who decides what the team should be working on? Anyone? Or if you're typing, I'm not seeing.
Product owner.
Product owner, very right. You are absolutely right. So if something got developed that customer is not going to use, it's not the team's issue. It's the product owner's issue. Right? Why he let the team develop it if customer was not going to use it? Means product owner was not connected to the customer. Right? He doesn't know what the customer needs. And that's something that he or she need to determine. Right? So that's so this is important to remember. Nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. So how do you know that the topmost item in your backlog is giving you or a team the biggest bang for the buck? How do you know? How do you know that topmost item is giving you the biggest bang for the buck? That's the question. How do you know if it's not going to be used? It's zero actually. Bang for the buck is zero because nobody's using it. Its value is zero. Right. So this is the thing that you need to think about. How do you do that? And we'll discuss this as we go over. So bang for the buck. Let's go into a little deeper and determining or understanding how the bang for the buck is determined. So what is needed to determine bang for the buck? There are two key factors or the two things that you need. Very simple. I'm going to simplify it to the extent possible. You will not see anything simpler than this. Okay. So one is the size. Okay. What is the size of a backlog item? Story, epic, feature, whatever you want to call. Okay. Or every item in the backlog. Okay. So size, and the teams do size. They do size, they do story points. And the second is value. So those are the two key factors needed to determine the bang for the buck for the Agile. So story points is very common. Agile teams do story points, and the dollar, the value, right? Which teams don't do. And in the beginning, we talked about, and I think I heard someone saying about that there are different stakeholders and they may have different perspective of value, which is right. Similarly, when teams do story points, team members based on their role may have a different thought about story points. So for a developer, something could be 3 story points, but for the tester, it could be 8, or it could be 13, or it could be 1. So there is a variation that happens. Everybody has their aspect. So if you ask a developer, he will think from the development perspective. If you ask a tester, he or she will think it from the testing purposes. It is possible that sometimes a developer has to just like maybe 3 or 4 lines of code. He can be done in an hour or less. But the testing team has to test. Maybe they have to spend 2-3 days to test, or other way around, right? So there will be different aspects. So how the teams overcome that different aspects of doing story points. If you have a strong Scrum Master, somebody who is very capable, very knows how to do it, they will be able to generate that consensus from different aspects, from story points. So the team can come and they say, okay, this is the story point for this item in the backlog. So a good Scrum Master will be able to bring that consensus on story points. Similarly, for the value, a good product owner will be able to bring consensus among different stakeholders talking about value from different perspective. Is just the same thing that the team is not able to do value point, and they should not be doing value points or value dollar value. They should not be doing it because they don't know. They don't know about the business impact of it. They don't know how business will get benefited from it. They don't know it. But customers, stakeholders, product owners, they know it. They're supposed to know it, right? They're supposed to know it. So they are supposed to know it. So I think that is what how will correlate having different thinking from different aspects about the same thing. So size, different aspect, BA, QA, developer, tester, they have different aspects. Similarly, for the value, different stakeholders may have different way of thinking about it. And a good product owner will be able to bring consensus. So that is how you can achieve it. And sometimes product owners and Scrum Master are pushed into their roles without them knowing very well about it, and that's a problem. That's where a good agile coach can help, or a senior Scrum Master who has been there in the organization, they can help this new person. So the new person in their new role may need some coaching, and they can figure out where from they get the coaching. All right, so let's move on. So let's talk about the little more bang for the buck, the size and the value. So in this picture, there are 3 activities with a value written and the size written in terms of hours. So which one will give you the bang for the buck? Or which one will you do out of these first?
4 hours, $300.
$300. Yep, very right. Very right. $300. Now let's see a different situation. Now I'm talking about equal value, but their size differs. So in this case, which one will you do?
4 hours.
First one, right? This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, clear, very clear, right? You can tell very easily. Now I'll give you another one where they both are varying. So in this case, your bang for the buck is the middle one. So the bang for the buck is you divide value by size. It's very simple formula. You divide value by size. The higher the number, higher the bang for the buck. Okay, so if you divide value by size, that's your number. Sorry about that.
But,
okay. Yes, any
how
questions?
can you? Yeah. So if you want to divide something, okay, you need to have those 2 quantities in the same unit. For example, I can't add, a dollar value with another unit that has got a time value. Similarly, I can't divide 2 dissimilar units. So I'm a little bit
right. So
struggling.
I
Yeah.
will say just take the numeric number there. Don't worry about the unit. Don't worry about the unit for now. Okay, so it is 200 divided by 6. That's how I was doing it. Okay, so you can divide 200 by 6. So that is I'm talking about the numeric here, and then very quickly I will tell you how really actually you do it. Yeah, you are right. You're right. Okay. So if you divided $200 by 6 hours, you will get, you can still do it. You can still do it. The answer will be about $30 per hour, right? You can do that. You can do division with different units. You can do that. So if I say the bang for the buck is $30 per hour, 30 plus whatever, I'm rounding it. So you can still do that. You can always do that. It will be per hour, right? So this is $400 divided by 20 will be $20 per hour. This will be $25 per hour. So even in that case, here is your bang for the buck because you're getting the highest amount. You're getting the highest amount. So yeah, yes, you can do it. It will give you per hour. It will not give you just a ratio or one numeric number. But good question. Okay. All right, let's move on. So how do you determine value? So there are two ways of doing it. Absolute method. Find out the exact value in dollars. Okay. Find out the exact value in dollars, which is very hard for all the reasons that you mentioned earlier. It's very hard to determine the value in dollars, right? The second one, the easy method, is the relative methods. So like story points is not an absolute size. You all know that, right? Story point is a relative size. It's a relative sizing estimation. So what stops us in determining value using relative methods? If we can do it, story points, relative method, everybody has accepted that. And most teams do it, right? They don't talk about absolute. They talk about relative. Okay, and how they do it, they pick up the smallest story in the backlog and say this is one story point. And then based on that, they determine what are the other stories. It's double the size, triple the size, 5 times the size. Fibonacci sequence you may be aware of. So that's a relative sizing, right? So if we can have for size, the relative sizing, why we cannot have for the value? We can call it value point. I call it value point. Similar to story points. So you can, or you can apply something that SAFE uses, cost of delay. SAFE is another framework you may be aware of. So here they use relative sizing. They use these 4 factors: user business value, time criticality, risk reduction divided by opportunity enablement. And each one of these, they use a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 100. Relative sizing. So they can use a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 100 to come up with the cost of delay. So the cost of delay becomes the value, whatever is that cost of delay. So higher the cost of delay, higher is the value. Lower the cost of delay, lower is the value. So cost of delay means if I delay this feature by 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months, what it will cost to the organization. We'll have some missed opportunity. We'll have, so we'll not be able to bring revenue and all that. But instead of getting all that, which becomes an absolute method to calculate cost of delay using the absolute method, we determine the cost of delay using the relative method. Very simple equation, and then have all the people all that, and all the people talk about, okay, what do you think is the business value from your perspective in a scale of 1 to 10? So basically, we are asking them to rank it, right? Or 1 to 100, whatever team decides. 1 to 100 will be more granular as compared to 1 to 10, but either one is fine. Either one is fine. So you use relative methods or absolute method. Absolute method is very difficult, may not be practical, but relative method is easy. It's not very difficult. It's not very difficult. So story point sizing, which most of you may know about, relative sizing, consensus based, size based rather than time based, and sizes that matter story points. They follow the Fibonacci sequence. Stories are compared to previously estimated stories to obtain an estimate. And many teams use planning poker to generate consensus. So planning poker is a great thing. It will help to generate consensus. Similar thing you can adopt for relative sizing for the value. So let's think about the value points. Okay, I have some picture on the left right hand side. So customer estimates the value point, not the team. So that's what is the more important. Team doesn't have inputs into this. It's the customer or stakeholders. And then you can have two, like most and least valuable stories. What is the most valuable story? What's the least valuable story? And then all other stories go in between, like you see here. Okay. They follow the Fibonacci sequence. This is the original Fibonacci sequence, or they can use the modified Fibonacci sequence the way you use in the story points. And then stories now have story points scored by the team and value points scored by the customer. Okay, so you have story points scored by the team and the value so you have value and you have size. And both are now, in this case, both are in relative sizing, both are numeric. Okay. So that's what I was talking about. Somebody asked about division. So in this case, it's not an issue at all. So both are numbers. Okay. But which should the team do first? The longest stories with highest value or the low-hanging fruit with lower value? So longest stories with highest value, should they do this first? Or they should do this low-hanging fruits that can be finished quickly? Lower value, which the team should do first? That's the question. And the bang for the buck, if you look at bang for the buck, is value point divided by story points. So value divided by size. That's your bang for the buck. Value divided by the size. So for example, a story has 20 value points and 8 story points for 2.5 bank of buck. So you divide 20 by 8, right? The second one is B has 40 value points, 21 story points for a bank 1.9 bank of buck. So in this case, you will do this one, the A. Even though it has fewer value points, it has only 8 value points, but because it has a higher bang for the buck, 20 value points. So since this is a higher bang for the buck, you will do this one first. Okay, so that's how you priority is decided, that you will do this one first, then this one. Okay, so if this were same, like if it was a more value point, then the bang for buck will increase and then you will do it. Or if it is at 21 story points, probably you may further divide this story into smaller stories. And then you need to determine value for each one of them. And it is possible that you might have divided into 3 stories and one of them has a higher bang for buck, even more than 2.5, then that becomes your first choice to do it. So that is how the prioritization should happen in your backlog. You got the story point, you got the value point, and you got the bang for the buck. So the backlog items should be sorted based on the bang for the buck, the highest bang for the buck on the top, and the lowest bang for the buck at the bottom. If you did this way, then you will be delivering more value in every release and every sprint, because that's how you prioritize. So that's how you're going to prioritize. So your lower bang for the buck is sitting down somewhere, right? Your higher bang for the buck is above. So you will make sure that you deliver quickly, right? Deliver quick. So you will be delivering more value in, more value as compared to not thinking about the value points. So if you think about the value point and have a bang for the buck, then you will deliver value. And if customer will want in value points, then you know that is something that is going to be used. You eliminate the risk of that not being used. All right. So and then this is what they use, WSJF, weighted shortest job first. That's how this is called as in SAFe. It is basically absolutely the same principle. So SAFe does use value, but many other teams that don't use SAFe, they don't use value. Okay. All right. So anti-patterns of estimating, not asking enough questions, using gut feel only, not using tools, using absolute sizing instead of relative sizing. Why this is anti-pattern absolute sizing? Because absolute sizing is difficult, takes a lot of time. So that's why it is kind of not not recommended to practice. It may not be so much of an anti-pattern rather than not a bad practice. Okay, all right. Uh, so any question? We'll come back to question. Let's go to Menti for short time, and let's do this. Uh, what I call is a little little quiz here. So if you go to menti.com and use this code 239000700. I see one player here, so you are already in. It will be great if all four of you can participate. You can do it from your phone or tablet or laptop, whatever you have. Okay, we got two. And we got three. So we'll have 5 questions. I would like if the fourth person can also join. I don't know the names here. So, yeah, okay, excellent. So we'll enter the game and each question will come and you have 10 seconds to answer. And it will give you some scorings here. Okay, very good. So 2 people answered. Okay, all right, Rajashri. Let's say second question here. Oh, okay, all 4 of you are right. Okay, so that's how it looks like. Let's go to the third one here. Okay, everyone is right again. Rajarshi is still leading. And this is the fourth question. Okay, it was that not a factor. So everything was a factor. So let's see. Leaderboard, now it's 5 of 5. So not an anti-pattern means it is something should be doing. Okay, so Rajshri is the winner and VRoom is the second one. So you can ask for any of these, write to us, and we will set you up for these prices. So question time. And if you want me to conduct this kind of a webinar or other kind of webinar to your team or organization, feel free to reach out to me. We have these upcoming courses, training courses. If you or somebody else you know is looking for some professional development or PDUs or need some training in their new roles, you are more than welcome to forward this to them. So I will stop sharing this and let's have a Q&A session. We have 10 minutes left. So I see here, should value points be done at story level or epic level? So answer is that whatever is that item in your backlog. So every item in the backlog should be done value point, but sometimes it may be not practical to do at the story level. If your stories are too small, then I will say it should be done at the really the feature level or epic level. So because you will not be releasing when you release a feature or you release an epic, then you're releasing all the stories with that. So not releasing them independent. So even if you have finished stories, but you're not going to release them until the epic is done or the feature is done. So it is okay to do story point, the value points at the feature or epic level, what you are going to put in production. Okay, so that's important. So because it cannot be used before you put into production. It may be production ready, but still you may not be able to put it in production. So it is okay if your stories are very small, that it doesn't make sense, then you can do it epic or feature level. Anybody else has any questions? You can open up your microphones and talk. We have about 10 minutes left, and I will be more than happy to address any questions that you might have.
This is Bill. I had a quick one. If you had one where the calculation, say you had 20 value points divided by 8 story points, and another where you had 10 value points divided by 4 story points, so the bang for the buck was the same, is there a preference to do the quicker project first to get something done, or the more involved project done to get more overall value? Even though
So
the
I
time
think that
units
will
are the
be a
same.
very good conversation that the product owner need to have with the customers. So I will say product owner should lead that question and should talk to the customer like they have exactly same bang for the buck. Now, which one would you prioritize among the two, the smaller one or the larger one? So I think it depends upon what the customer says. And sometimes we may say, okay, if it is a smaller one, maybe we can get it done in this sprint. Larger one probably take 2 sprints to do. So I think that will be a question that product owner should talk to the customer, or even without talking to the customer, if he or she can make the call, then I think that he or she is the person to make the call. So there is no straightforward answer, but it's just the product owner need to check or he or she can decide by himself or herself. Good question, David. Good question, Bill. Anybody else has any questions? All right. So we will finish a few minutes early, and that's absolutely all right. If you any point of time, if you need to ask me a question, feel free to write it to me, and I should be able to help you with your questions. Thank you very much for joining. I hope you got some good ideas from this topic, which is kind of ignored topic in agile development, and this can be used even in other non-agile projects also, because value is everywhere. Value is everywhere. So I think asking those questions, what's the value of doing it, is a good question. Even a project manager can ask this question when he or she is putting together the project plan. So or looking at the requirement, looking at creating WBS or whatever they are doing, following the for doing their project. All right. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you in our next webinar.
Thank you, NK. This was awesome.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. It
Yes,
was a
thank
great
you.
job. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.